Sai Deepak avanga enga ponalum kuda ticket kadikkiradhu illa. Wherever he goes, you hardly find tickets. Such a brilliant speaker, very straight, like piercing an arrow with an arrow, that kind of accuracy with which he speaks. It is important to decolonize our mindset. So this is the time where we have to declutter, decolonize our mindset. In India is that phase. First we are taking out the popular misconception. We are just removing it now. Many places we are rediscovering our culture. Many places we are restoring our culture. It is not going to happen overnight. It is not going to happen tomorrow morning. But you will see in the last 10 years, the shift has happened. Many popular misconceptions being removed, culture being rediscovered, being practiced, being popularized. But fundamentally, the word secular, which has tied up us for a long point of time. In our history books, the first thing that is taught is be secular, practice secularism. And wherever we want to do something also, they said, oh, this is not secular. And this is a state where a Bhumi Puja is not called secular. And there are some MPs who will come and say, how dare you do Bhumi Puja? This is the land of Dravidians. So Bhumi Puja, we don't accept. So you are wondering, what is the secularism? How did this word secularism enter into our social fabric, or probably misconstructed over a point of time? And multiple generations being made to read thought, this is secular, this is secular. And then we think that is the way we should behave. If we deviate from the norm, then probably people will scold us, or probably we might be away from the pack. Our constitution, when it was founded, when the document was written, Sai Deepak is the exponent of it. I will not get into it, how it was written, why it was changed during the emergency, why the word called secular was inserted into it, and probably I'm sure you will touch more on it. After that, the de-spiritualization started. In a state like Tamil Nadu, it started much before. But rest of the country, it started slightly later, because their culture was holding on to it during the initial rule of the Congress period, 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Then when all institutions were attacked together by the concept of secularism, the de-spiritualization process started one after the other. The Dravidian ideology in Tamil Nadu, when it came, like a brother, it brought de-spiritualization along with it. There are 35 Lord Rama temples in Tamil Nadu, which is 1,000 years old. Inside our state, the geographical boundary, what we call as Tamil Nadu now, is 1,000 years old. I'm not talking of 10 years or 100 years or 200 years old. There is a temple in Arani, if at all you happen to visit that part of Tamil Nadu, where Dasaratha Maharaja came. He prayed to the Lord Shiva there, Puttira Kametishvara temple. Dasaratha Maharaja wanted a son or wanted a child to take care of his empire. Even Lord Rama was born in our country after the prayers being offered in Arani. So you go to the temple, you see Puttira Kamateshwara temple there, you see all the history and all the, sometimes some little bit folklore also associated with the temple. When you go to Srirangam, you see Lord Rama's Kula Devata. Kula Deva himself was gifted to Vibhishana, and Vibhishana kept it in Srirangam, which you go and pray now. And then when you happen to visit the Suryanar temple near Kumbakonam, Tanjavur, you happen to see a Gunda there called Jatayu Gundam. That is the place Lord Rama brought Jatayu and performed the last rites for Jatayu. Even now you go there, there is Jatayu Gundam, and people go there, pray and come. So you travel all parts of Tamil Nadu. Maybe we popularly know Lord Ramanatha Swami temple in Rameshwaram. But you go to small towns, you go to Mufassal towns, everywhere, you see Lord Rama's connection in every single part of Tamil Nadu, which is at least 1,000 year old. At least 1,000 year old. Now after the Dravidian philosophy started gaining traction here, the de-spiritualization process started. Then the state had gone to a level where a particular group thought it fit to put chapel on Lord Rama. So that is the level to which they have taken. So we have to understand why this shift happened. And why there are still some proponents in our state who believe in secession, who believe in a separate state, who mock a practicing religion, who mock a practicing culture, who somehow think a person who is practicing a culture that is essential to their way of life. In a way, if I put it, they might say that we are idiots. Now, this is the first important thing that we have to do, remove the popular misconception. That is a very important thing that is available right in front of you, which all of us have to do with a lot of sense of vigor. So whenever you find time, you should make it a point to visit all parts of India. You should keep observing what is happening. Be it a temple, be it an archaeological finding, whatever it is, we have to find out what is that culture. Because a person who has written a book and that book becoming our textbook should not define how we think. Some writer sitting somewhere, probably belonging to a particular ideology, writes a book that becomes a textbook and taught to crores of children every year. You do it for 10 years, you can prove a cat is a dog is a tiger. We have to go beyond textbooks. We got to travel, understand, research, think deeply, and connect to all these small places that is connected to our culture. Go there, get inspired. Then probably forums like this, even a tea shop, even a marriage function, then the step one of busting the popular misconception will start happening right in front of our eyes. Again, 1960, when the issue of Ram Temple was picking up, the old issue, after independence it was still continuing, when there was a lot of disputes about the Places of Worship Act, whether we should restrict it to only that, or we should go on reclaiming all the culture and civilizational glory that we have lost at different points of time. A victor deliberately insulting a practicing religion by putting up some structure because they wanted to convey a message. In the Mari Pala discussion, peak of the discussion in the Azad Memorial Lecture, he says Aurangzeb converted these temples with the deliberate intention of insulting his political opponents. Nehru, in his own wisdom, chose not to listen to the guest whom he invited in the first place to deliver the Azad Memorial Lecture. Even the statue of George V, which was adorning Delhi, was not removed till Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's last breath. You see how we are attached to a lot of things that is absolutely foreign to us. 1968, George V was taken out, but canopy was standing there without anybody. Then he took our Narendra Modi ji step 2 to bring Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose to the same canopy to put it. So in the context, it is very important. It is very important to understand the context. When Poland got absolute independence, or probably when it saved itself from the occupation, the first thing Warsaw people and Polish people did is, they broke the Russian Orthodox Church that is built in their country. They rebuilt it with Catholic Church, which is their practicing faith. Every country has done it. A victor, an aggressor who came, who put their symbol as a resistance for a long point of time. All over the world, people did it. But India, it was a very touchy subject. Like Tamil Nadu, January 22, even to watch Prana Pratishta, we had to go to Supreme Court in the middle of the night, get an order, and to say people can watch. The English title that is given to the constitutional monarch of Thailand is Rama. Rama Kane is very popular, more like a national epic in Thailand. Look at all the East Asian culture. Small countries fighting vigorously to retain the culture, that probably that culture also went to those countries from our country. The celebration of Ramayana or celebration of Mahabharata, possibly in a state like Tamil Nadu, they think is very alien. Now we are trying to restore the bits and pieces. We are trying to restore whatever we have lost and trying to bring it to our national consciousness. Now yoga, International Yoga Day is one. Now yoga being practiced on June 21 across 192, all signatories of UN gaining popular imagination. Yoga exhibits how our mind, body and spirit, everything is aligned together when we live a life of detachment. Over a point of time, we were very particular. Art, culture, this is the very essence of being a Bharatiya. That is where the stories get told. It is not a textbook. If we travel outside the country, not only we are restoring our culture inside the country. Next, Sri Lanka ponga. So there are Ishwaran temples across 5 corners of Sri Lanka. Ravana kattana koil. Now we are restoring one after the other all the 5 temples around Sri Lanka. Tiruketishwaram is restored by the government of India's grant. It is gifted to the people of Sri Lanka as a grant from India. Not only are we doing it in our country, we are also going outside the country. The next 25 years is going to be a very important moment, because right now the popular misconception we have broken. We are reimagining our culture. We are taking it to the masses. And more importantly, we are expanding and bridging it. the resistance is also quite high. Because the forces that was operating till now, இத்தனை ஆண்டுகளாக எந்த பிரச்சனை இல்லாம ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் இல்லாம இருந்த forces எல்லாம், now they have to unite together. Naturally, they all have to unite together. They all have to come and attack. They all have to come and say, no, 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 this is Hindutva. No, 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 this is something. This is RSS version of India's culture. So they don't, this is the time when we as citizens, we start having small conversations, not big conversations. Some of the eminent people who are sitting in the front row, sitting here, they do their duty by having big conversations. Television studio, Periya Forathla, in front of 10,000 people, they speak. Get this thing done, it is important. The small conversation happens in millions and crores. Rent pair, family kulla, society kulla, college kulla, canteen kulla. 10 people, 15 people should have among themselves by saying, look, this is happening. Look, this is my temple. Look, there is an important archaeological, historical place here. This is the connection. Look, and even when we invite our friends, if at all you have to suggest a good tourist place outside Chennai to your friend, in Kanchipuram, Uttarameru, so you go there, you see a Kulothunga Chola times inscription there, 10th century, 1100 years before. Small village kind of town, 3 rivers surrounding that village. Very beautiful, very pristine, very serene place. If you have the time to go to that Vaikuntavasi Varadaraja Perumal temple, Kulothunga Cholan has put inscriptions around the temple. You just have to take their time to observe. He has put 3 inscriptions about how election should be conducted. We are talking of 1100 years before. The first inscription talks about who can contest an election. The second inscription talks about how election should be conducted. The third inscription talks about after a person is elected, how can you remove him? So 3 things. If you have the time to go and read it, you'll be so fascinated. The concept of democracy 1100 years back, he has etched it there. Probably when we are shifting from Mannarachi to Makkalachi, when that shift was happening at different points in our country, in Bharat, he has put it. Now I will just take a couple of minutes to explain what is written in that inscription. You will feel so beautiful. Now suddenly they talk about India's constitution was copied from so many people. We have taken inspiration from Ireland. We have taken inspiration from Britain, and so many things they talk. They say a person who has to be in political life has to enter politics after 30. Until 70, he has to be in politics. And the whole place is divided into 30 wards. Each ward will have one elected member. A person can become an elected member only once in their lifetime. Only once. And the period is exactly 360 days. 360th day, you are outside. Once you are in public life, one time, getting the member of that ward, you can never stand for election in your life. And on the point, they had 5 different variums there. A temple varium, a canal varium, a garden varium. So you are a member of a varium for 1 year. There is a 3-year cooling off period. Then you can become a member of what? So which means in your life, you can be a member of varium once. You can be a member of ward once. There are 35 crimes they have mentioned. If you have committed any of those crimes in your lifetime, you can never contest for election. And after you have won the election, they have listed another 17 misdemeanors. You have done the 17 mistakes by being a representative of public, then you will be kind of impeached. So there's 3 inscriptions, very beautifully, the fulcrum of democracy. Just about 1.5 hours from here, in Kanchipuram districts, you go there, you read it, you come. Not Disney World, not this defamation suit. Not this place where some snow is there, not some big malls. So not those places, small places around us. Take them, take our children there, show them, make them to read, connect them to our culture. Then they understand, oh, the essence of Bharatiya means that we have to be democratic in nature. Every single thing, when we take our children to places, make them to connect, make them to read, make them to listen, I think we groom them for the next. We travel less. As Indians, we somehow have the feeling we are traveling more. No, we are traveling very less. Our forefathers traveled more. இப்போ நம்ம ஒரு சாய் தீபக் வச்சுக்கிட்டு முன்னாடி இருக்கக்கூடிய நல்ல மனிதர்கள் எல்லாம் அமர்ந்திருக்கிறாங்க. There is our very eminent friend. Every day you see him on the TV talking very loudly about our civilization, our glory, our culture. To accelerate their thought process, it is important as Indians we have to travel more. We are not traveling. And for us, the concept of holiday is take, even within India, go there, book a nice resort, relax, some sightseeing, some beach, maybe, what is that, they take this parachute kind of thing there and go down, and they say, I had a good holiday. I think we are making a big mistake to our children if we think that is a holiday we are giving. Take them to a place, make them to eat a local food. So when the children comes back, he will keep, or he or she will keep thinking, oh, some new thing. He will come and tell somebody in the school, நான் எங்க போனேன் தெரியுமா? இப்ப ஸ்கூல்ல children என்னங்க பேசுறாங்க? நான் ஸ்மோக்கிங் இடம் போனேன் தெரியுமா? நான் டிசீவல்ட் போனேன் தெரியுமா? நான் இங்க போனேன் தெரியுமா? அங்க போனேன் தெரியுமா? So let us make a conscious effort to think like a Bharatiya. Take us outside the shell. Consciously travel more. Connect to all the historical places. Accelerate the thought process of Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, who thinks this is the time to grow with our cultural intact. So I thank Sister Sivasri for the great opportunity that she has given me to come here and sharing stage with my dear friend Sai Deepak. And we are very, very sure we are on the cusp of change.
Jai Shri Ram. Vanakkam and Namaskaram. My mind is actually bursting with thoughts and possibilities, especially after hearing this man speak. So let me thank Shivashri for giving me an opportunity to share space with Kamaraj 2.0. Tamil Nadu pudicha and the Putrinoy 1967 அது முதல்ல ஒழியணும். That virus that has gripped the holy state of Tamil Nadu, this dharmic land, needs to be eradicated first. I request the dharmikas in Tamil Nadu, the Hindus of Tamil Nadu, to throw their weight behind this man. I'm making this public. This was not meant to be a political speech, but unfortunately, our land has been heavily politicized, our religion has been politicized. When we speak of think like a Bharatiya, and since he has touched upon the topic of secularism, I'm happy he's actually done that. Decolonization has finally entered Indian political discourse, and that's a fantastic victory. Tragedy is that this conversation should have started in 1947, and it has started in 2020s. No other post-colonial independent society can boast of this kind of prolonged mental slavery. I know what people like me have gone through in Tamil Nadu. I've witnessed it on campuses. I've suffered the consequences of it. But the only promise and sankalpam I made to myself was that I will never become a jati activist. I will speak for the community as a whole. Anybody who understands the history of secularism will tell you that secularism is political conversion. Its job is to sever your roots, your connection with your roots. Its entire purpose is to make sure that you forget your past. And it becomes the new religion because humankind cannot survive without religion. Therefore, secularism has become the new religion, unfortunately. The purpose of these tools is to ensure that you forget one of the most important, let's say, concept in the life of dharmikas, which is pitris, ancestors, your people, your forefathers. That is why I call it political conversion, because conversion requires you to spit on your past and to embrace a new identity that's completely antagonistic to your earlier identity. Hence, it is political conversion. Knowing fully well that this would be the problem, that it's a time bomb that's going to burst itself on a regular basis against the indigenous community, the framers of the Constitution chose not to use the word secularism as part of the preamble at all. Think like a Bharatiya. You can't think like a Bharatiya as long as you embrace secularism, is my humble submission. It is cognitive dissonance. If you think like a Bharatiya and also wear secularism as a badge of honor, you can't. They are incompatible. They are mutually destructive. People like Dushyant Sridhar and others will continue to do what they will do on a public platform. But until this becomes a social, cultural revolution, don't expect people like him to fight this battle alone. And the worst part is this cancer has entered the rest of the South. Bhakti should have been the biggest export of Tamil Nadu. This Dravidianist cancer is being exported to the rest of the South. In my living memory, I have never seen a separatist sentiment being expressed on the Dharmika state of Karnataka ever. Even that has happened because the way this cancer enters is actually true and consistent to its origins, which is cinema, which is art. So that's how it has entered Telangana and Andhra Pradesh through movies. That's how it has entered Karnataka. Kerala, of course, never needed it because it has its own cancer. Parashurama Kshetram should have been known for a different red. It is being known for a different red. So the point is, this civilization is a dharmic civilization. Own it, embrace it, be proud of it. That is fundamentally decolonization. If someone says, does it mean that we should embrace everything about the past? When every time I speak of decolonization, I get this nonsensical statement, I'm forced to say, does it mean that you have to spit on your past? No, you don't have to. These are not binaries. Anyone who chooses to focus exclusively on the problems of the past is not a well-wisher of this civilization, because according to him, there is nothing positive worth being discussed. You have to look at the entire history of the civilization as a whole. It's not a monolith. And the civilization is called a civilization thanks to the scale of its diversity. So the realities, the political realities, the jati realities, the economic realities have been different in different parts of the country, but we are all painted with the same brush. But what is it that you can do if you have to think like a Bharatiya? Temple tourism in Tamil Nadu must boom. Use the temple to unite people. Use the temple to educate people. Bring them out of perpetual victimhood. Oh, is it too sensitive a comment? Today, our temples are held ransom by an ideology that has vowed destruction of our religion, has taken an oath for it. And they're being true to their political masters who are within and outside the country. I have no political affiliation whatsoever. I can say this bluntly with him being on the stage. My affiliation, my fealty, my loyalty is to my community, to my dharma, period. There are a lot of issues and deliverables that are entirely within our control. There are Sardarjis, members of the Sikh community who sing in Tamil, in Kumarangundam and other places. I've seen that happen. That is the unity of this land. The utter nonsense that is being peddled about this community is a direct consequence of our ignorance. You think it's easy for somebody like Dushyant Sridhar to wear the Tripunda and go to the television and face all the people from the D-stocks? The kind of hatred, the kind of poison, the kind of bile that is being hurled at people like him is unbelievable. How do these people function? Because of their inner spiritual core. Learn one thing from the Asura. Whenever you think of tapas, you think of the Asura, because Asura tapas is unbelievable. Because when they commit themselves to something, they latch on to it. We must start looking at producing Raktabija Devas. Every drop of blood in the land of Sanatana Dharma must create more Dharmika warriors. What kind of a sensitive area Jati as a topic is, I have decided to embrace the cactus by talking about it. Because it is important for us to have these conversations. The more you shy away from these conversations, you make them taboo topics, somebody else is going to appropriate it. Somebody else with a vested interest is going to appropriate it. There will never be a conversation with honesty. And with honesty does not mean to deny everything that has happened, but also to say, please don't exaggerate. And also remember that it is meant to bring us together. If the purpose of the conversation is to divide us further, then it is fundamentally a bad faith engagement. It is a dishonest conversation. It's a motivated, malicious conversation. And that is what happens every time we touch this topic. Every incident is a potential entry point for the mischievous Dravidianist. He's waiting for it. It cannot be just a Katha Kalakshepam or a pure cultural event, because none of our classical arts are being, let's say, kept away from this political conversation. Every institution, whether it is dedicated to Bharatanatyam or not, is now under the attack from the left. It's being taken over. Bharata Muni will not be taught in these places, apparently. Bharata Muni will not be taught in an institution which is dedicated to Bharatanatyam, is the scene of the Tamil Nadu of 2020s. And whoever wants to teach Bharata Muni's Bharatanatyam and Natya Shastra is being kicked out as a Hindutva fascist Sanghi. I've had people come and speak, explain their position, genuinely express a way to bridge this gap. This is not to my credit. I am saying that there is a willing audience out there, provided you show it in action. You cannot read what is that? I don't want to name the newspaper anymore, because it's not what it's meant to be. It is the antithesis of its name. The Sri Mahamao of Mount Road. Find a way to get on the ground. You have only 3 ways of contributing to this battle. None of which is to just earn your livelihood and get out of it. Not happening. It's not happening anymore. You have to participate. Financially, what can you do? Culturally, what can you do? Intellectually, what can you do? Spiritually, what can you do? And if you have the ability, politically, what can you do? I understand that politics is not everybody's cup of tea, but everything else is within your remit. It's possible for you to do it. If this is incitement, so be it. I'm inciting you to action. I'm inciting you to action. A different kind of direct action where you actually go onto the ground and engage with people from your community. This is a battleground generation. Never before in the history of the last 400 to 500 years have we been presented with an option where you actually are in a position to speak with a unified political Bharat. You were speaking with different princely states at one point. You finally have a politically unified Bharat, which was always civilizationally one. When somebody has to go to court to prevent the viewing of Prana Pratishtha, it's a sign of desperation. It is darkness at its highest position, and that's where the resistance starts. When it is darkest, that's when there is a sense of hope, because effectively he's exhausted all his arsenal. His ammunition is over. He has nothing more to offer. Every structure that is anti-dharmic must crumble. Jai Shri Ram has become a national sentiment. Don't underestimate the will and the commitment and the venom of the other side. They know no boundaries, they have no standards. The definition of standard is lost on them. The concept of decency and courtesy is lost on them. That's the kind of people you're dealing with. They have no respect for women. They are the last one to speak of feminism. They shouldn't hold forth on feminism at all. None of them know how to respect women whatsoever. Grama Devatas and Kula Devatas are the battlegrounds, by the way. Please go back to them. Revive your Grama Devatas and Kula Devatas at the very least. The divide that they are hoping to succeed in is to divide temples from Grama Devatas and Kula Devatas and say, no, these are 2 different strands altogether. One has got nothing to do with Sanatana Dharma, and this is all some Brahmin conspiracy. Please embrace those deities. I know for a fact that my own in-laws have Ayyanar as the Kula Devata, which means they also serve meat and toddy. That's what these idiots don't understand. They won't understand. Every temple has a paddhati. Whatever the temple says, we will do it. Period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me what is the origin of the priest. If the priest is a priest in a particular place of worship, you will surrender to his diktats as far as that institution is concerned. Street temples, the unknown temples. Because Madurai Meenakshi will always get crowds. What about other temples? What about other temples? Go back to those temples, forge your sense of community, which is the one thing lacking in this community, and that's haunted us for thousands of years now. You do that, when you take every profession seriously, you'll realize that all the professions which were in the hands of our communities, which have been lost to others, can be reclaimed. Otherwise, they'll come and live like destitutes in cities. Go to Ayodhya, and you will be surprised at the infrastructure development there. I am someone who believes in respecting sanctity first and ensuring that infrastructure organizes itself around that respect for that sacred space. I don't believe in corridorification at the expense of the sacred space. But I believe both of them can go hand in hand with a sense of balance. And Bharatiyas know how to maintain infrastructure. The self-loathing thought that we don't know how to maintain infrastructure, Delhi Metro has been running fantastically since 2004. It's among the best in the world. Washington is really terrible, even in terms of its metro system. Delhi is brilliant. I'll take questions from the audience for at best 10 minutes.
Hello. First of all, it's an absolute honor to meet both of my heroes in real life. Since we're in Mylapore, do you think there is credence to the fact that Mylapore temple's original location is something else? And if that's true, do you think it's possible for us to get it back?
When we wanted one, they said nothing doing. Now when we're asking for the other with evidence, they're saying nothing doing. So when somebody displays that kind of intransigence, I will say then my position of minimalism has no value. Let me now have no limits on my ask at all. At all. So when I dropped the figure of 40,000 over the last 2 weeks, people went on fire. Oh, what did he say? Barnaal matama vittu poche. Eppadi 40,000 enga irundhu? Are, 3 kodutha nee vandu edhum illa nu solra. Sir na 40,000 kekkuren. Because anyway your answer is going to be sunna, 0. If your answer is a 0, then I have no other option but to take a maximalist position. 2, okay, let me ask a different kind of revisionist argument right now. I'll present that argument. Why haven't any of these people said, why only temples of the north, Kashi, Mathura and Ayodhya? What about the temples of the south? They are apparently batting for the southerners, right? If they were Hindutva southerners, they should be saying, why only 3 temples of the north? What about other temples? Because they have decided for us that these are the holiest of our places. Okay, so if Madurai Meenakshi had been under occupation, would we not have asked for it? Absolutely. If Srirangam had been under occupation, you wouldn't have asked for it? Let someone tell me that Srirangam isn't among the holiest of our shrines. I dare them. Let them say Madurai Meenakshi is not. If Sabarimala was under occupation, would you not take it back? That's it. In a community that has 51 Shaktipeethas, 108 Divyadesams, 12 Jyotirlingas, what do you mean by 3 holiest of our shrines? Every community has its own holy shrine or holiest of shrines. I'm a Shaivite. For me, what is more important? As much as Ayodhya is important, Kashi is important, and if Chidambaram had been under occupation, that's equally important for me. Who are these people who are deciding for us to say, no, now that you want everything, limit it to 3? On what basis do you decide? When you you have a grand position is, Hinduism is not even centralized. Then how do you decide that 3 of these places are the holiest? If it is decentralized, then the argument has to be decentralized. Let the owners and the claimants of each of those temples decide for themselves. You don't decide for it. 2, when someone says, wouldn't this lead to some kind of a conflict and all that? They said this about 370. They said this about Rama. So every time it's a subtle thread that is being dropped. I'm saying, enough. Okay? Now this won't work anymore. The community has awakened. They've seen through all of this, and the evidence is right in front of your eyes, and your attitudes are also right in front of people's eyes. Enough is enough. The Supreme Court basically said that even the occupier for centuries will be given land despite having lost the case. That is the most magnanimous ask that you can get from the highest constitutional court of the country. I'm saying I'm willing to propose even that. Somebody asked for 5 villages once. I am giving you 5 acres now. You don't want this. Consequences will follow. Time will decide. The master accountant is always time. It is a Kala Chakram. It will keep coming back, and our time is now. Second, entry 28, I agree with you. I've said this in articles, I've said this in speeches. I think it's important for us to start forming a broader consensus. Since this ask has been limited to a select few people or select individuals, it has remained a storm in a teacup. My suggestion to you will be this. Strengthen his hands by making the temple freedom movement a Hindu movement and not the movement of one particular community in Tamil Nadu. I'm not saying that anybody is limiting it to one particular community, but the perception needs to change, and I certainly think people who are working for it are working towards it. But the other side constantly says, no, this is effectively a clique of a particular community that is interested in restoring its domination and supremacy. Address that. Don't run away from it. It's important to address that. Start the outreach. The legal battle will be fought. The gentleman who represented Sri Ram Lalla in the Ayodhya case, Sri C.S. Vaidyanathan, is the one who's leading us in the battle. I'm second in command. So we are in very safe hands, and those pair of hands belong to Sri C.S. Vaidyanathan. Remember that. People may not be aware of it, therefore it becomes my duty to inform people of this. Sri R. Venkatramani, who is the current Attorney General, was previously part of the team. He was at par with Mr. C.S. Vaidyanathan representing this matter. And then he became the Attorney General. So according to me, the stars are positioned in the right place.
Namaskar, sir. J Sai Deepak and Annamalai, sir. Basically, I'm from Madhya Pradesh. I am pursuing my bachelor's in engineering here.
Ji.
So, sir, there are a lot of talks going about Hindu Rashtra. So, like, what are your opinions on Hindu Rashtra? And is Hindu Rashtra actually possible?
One, yes, it's possible. Two, it merely means restoring the civilizational identity of this land and not using imported values to pixelate our identity. It doesn't mean second-grade rights to anybody else, but it certainly means the preferential treatment that has been going on and on and on for over 100 years, according to me, not just over 75 years, needs to stop, and particularly, history needs to be acknowledged. So when we are told that in the context of jati and so on and so forth, acknowledgement of history is important, and addressing that situation through social justice mechanisms is important, I fail to understand how does history suddenly become irrelevant and redundant in the context of other issues. You can't selectively say history is relevant for this and not this, because this is your pain point. I'll keep doing this on a regular basis. But as far as other issues are concerned, where history is actually acting to your advantage, I will not talk about it. That can't happen. 3, my vision for Bharat is actually what I would call Pax Indica, which is Greater Bharat. What is Pax Indica? If you read history, it will speak of Pax Britannica, Pax Romana, and now we are witnessing the dying gasps of Pax Americana, which means it's called Roman peace or English peace or American peace, which is peace that is established under the supremacy and the leadership of a particular country, where it has the widest possible economic influence, the widest possible cultural influence, and the widest possible political influence. My vision is strengthen your position within, and the immediate neighborhood of undivided Bharat should also become safe for the core identity of Bharat. That is the day you would effectively come to a point where a CAA is no more necessary. One is to enact a CAA to address the existing situation, but the next is to come to a point where you have a stick strong enough to say no further assaults on this identity, in my neighborhood at the very least. That is my larger vision. Creating a safe homeland and a safe neighborhood for perhaps the most traumatized, genocided, massacred population of the world.